Well, friends, welcome back and welcome to our last session together of this video series and study of the Kindness Challenge. If you've been doing the standard weekly session approach and working on the 30-day Kindness Challenge, you only have a few more days to go. Congratulations. So this is going to be a short video session because in your discussion time with your group, I want you to be able to take the time for a special focus on one overall question. What are you going to do once the 30 days are over? This is a crucial question as all of us move forward because most participants in the research told us that they wanted to keep their new lifestyle of kindness going. They saw the difference it made in others and in themselves. But yet at the same time, as soon as the 30 days were over, inevitably something tested all their resolve. Someone pushed all their buttons and they wanted to jump back into venting or exasperation or other types of negativity. Or because they weren't regularly thinking about, what do I praise today? They then realized a few days later, you know what? I haven't expressed affirmation at all in the last few days, and so on. It is easy to slide when we're not being purposeful. Thankfully, there are a few actions that will make it easier to stay purposeful over time. First is to decide ahead of time what you want to continue working on, almost like an ongoing 30-day kindness challenge that keeps renewing. For example, if there is one thing you've seen work well in your relationship, what is that one thing you want to keep doing? Or if there is an area you know you still need to do better at, what is that? Where do you think you want to continue to grow? Think about that and make a decision. And don't be vague about it. Instead, identify that thing very purposefully and write it down. You might consider using the final self-assessment action plan on the assessments page of jointhekindnesschallenge.com to work through and capture that decision for future use. But today, share that one thing with the others in your group and get their feedback and insight on what will help you do it. And in turn, share your suggestions with others from all that you have learned so far. The second thing that will help going forward is to think back on the great things you've already seen happen in your life and relationships because of going through this process. Look back through your notebook at what you tried and what the response was each time, and then over time. Celebrate those things that worked well, and you'll be incented to keep doing them. Third, just as important, identify which of the superpowers of kindness you've realized that you now have. We haven't talked as much about the superpowers of kindness in our video study thus far because earlier on in the process, before you developed a competence at being kind, you wouldn't really see it as a superpower yet. But now we are far enough along that I'll bet you will have seen that kindness really has given you some of those superpowers. So as another great way to incent yourself to keep going, look at Chapter 2 and identify those. For example, as one superpower, we say that kindness makes you emotionally bulletproof. When someone is upset with you and speaking harshly, or when that angry driver pulls up right on your tail on the highway and is behaving dangerously, it is easy to escalate. It is easy for this to really trigger something in us emotionally. Maybe you get angry and you slow down just to make a point, and the driver gets furious and you get even more aggressive and stressed and angry, and it could escalate from there. But instead, what happens if you determine, I'm not going to play that game. I am not going to respond. And you quietly pull over and let that rude driver go on his way. Suddenly, you're not agitated. By being calm and kind, you've taken away the other person's power to make you crazy. The bullet hit, but it bounced off. Or maybe in your life and your relationship, you found that another superpower was more obvious. If you've had any moments where you suddenly understood what the other person was thinking or feeling a lot more clearly, you've experienced the fact that kindness gives you X-ray vision. It turns out that this effort we've been doing to intentionally reframe our thoughts about a person from negative to positive has this side effect. We suddenly become more attuned to the other person's point of view. It may have to be done on purpose at first, but it will eventually become automatic that you're putting yourself in their shoes. Now, you may or may not agree with them, but if you want to have an enjoyable relationship regardless, it makes a big difference to understand them. As a final superpower to mention, we already talked in an earlier session about our finding that kindness melts through walls. Your person may have started out with a huge wall up against you, and maybe they still do at times, but maybe you see that your words or actions of kindness melt right through it. The person can still choose to brick up their heart again, but it becomes more work for them. Eventually, we found that so often the walls come down entirely. And if they haven't yet come down, listen, you can still move forward. You can still look ahead and anticipate the day when you will see those walls disappear. You can still put some success strategies into place for the long term, like keeping that journal or notebook going and experimenting with different words or actions and jotting down what you learn and what you see. Do that over a longer period of time and then look back, and you will almost certainly be encouraged. As you do move forward, I hope you will consider one final truth. Most of what you've been learning is a profound lesson that is worth celebrating all on its own. Although we want more enjoyment in our relationships, those relationships are not all about us. We have the opportunity to be a blessing in the life of someone else, and that is both a gift and a responsibility. And perhaps most important, as we develop a competence at kindness, we have the opportunity to shine that light into a society that desperately needs it. So set a great example. Draw others to the power of kindness. Share with them what you've learned, and you'll be a key catalyst in a spark that really does have the power to transform our culture.